something interesting we'll be talking about. In fact, is the part 2 of what we started last week, and that is how to activate your business idea. That's the topic. We started last week and we talked about how to who you are selling to, how to know who you are selling to, because there are steps to activating your business idea. You need to ask yourself some questions. So one of the first questions we really dealt with was how to know your buyer. Who is going to buy my product? So with me this morning is our regular. He's a business activator. He's Iwuoha, a business activator who has worked with entrepreneurs to fix difficult problems at the startup and growth stages of business. For more than a decade, has helped dozens of entrepreneurs start new businesses, raise funds, grow sales, optimize business models, and solve human capital and growth problems. His clients are active in industries that range from agribusiness to tech to retail to healthcare, manufacturing, energy, finance, services, and other sectors. Just name it. As long as it is business, he is here to help you out. He's an alumnus of PwC and is qualified as a chartered accountant with ACCA. He's a frequent speaker, a trainer, and a judge with business networks and entrepreneurial focus organization. You're featured on different platforms, CNN, RTW, and other big platform across Africa and the world. The African Diaspora News Channel is also featured there. And in 2018, he was recognized by LinkedIn as a top voice on startups and entrepreneurship. He's right here with me this morning. Good morning to you, Iwuoha.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. In fact, I'm as excited as you are. now, to move to the topic, because we have to dive right in before we start taking calls. How to activate your business idea?
Yes.
Because a lot of us have ideas. Now, how do you manifest it? How do you bring it to life? How do you really do a physical business with the idea you thought up in your head? So we already talked about a point last week. I want you to go back, a little refresher course, quickly, and then let's move to the part 2 of today's talk.
Okay, so we're at the foundation level, and the very first step in activating a business idea is to start with the right idea. Many businesses crumble because the foundation was very faulty. People ended up starting businesses they had no business starting in the first place. So it's not about fighting when you're already in the business. You can save yourself a lot of trouble. You can limit the amount of money you waste and even the kind of risk you take by choosing the right idea from the get-go. And in choosing your idea, thankfully for many people, they have several business ideas. And if anybody has been listening to what we've been discussing, since last week, it's in your best interest to have more than one idea. Some people have one business idea, they put all their energy and their emotions into it. It becomes a case of this idea must work. That's where it becomes difficult. Your best option is to have several options so that when you're passing it through this sieve, which is what these sessions are, at the end of the day, out of 5, 1 may survive or 2 may survive. And what that will give you is that you get the best of the best, rather than focusing on just one. So I said, if you have to start with a business idea, whatever business idea you have, there are 3 cardinal questions you must be able to answer. If you cannot answer any of these questions, you're going to be putting yourself in a lot of trouble. You might set yourself on a path of psychological and financial destruction if you do not answer these questions.
You failed before you start.
You failed before you start. The first question is, will anyone buy? The second question is, can it make money? The third question is, can I deliver? So last week we talked about, will anyone buy? And a couple of people, because it's a counterintuitive way of starting a business. When people want to start a business, people are largely product first. They think of, I will start a fashion business. I will start an import business. I will start an export. So they decide what the product will be before even determining who you are going to sell it to. And little wonder we end up running into a common problem, which is that you spend all this money, you raise money, borrow money, start this business, you pay rent, you do all those things, your business has started. And then all of a sudden, you're not asking yourself, why am I not making sales? Then it's at that point you now discover, why is nobody buying? And that's because you did not ask that question at the beginning. If you know who will buy, that will let you know what you will sell. Because at the end of the day, the way businesses make money is that people who are called customers pay them. So if the customer is not convinced that they should part with their money, they are not going to buy. So that's why you have to start with the customer. That essentially is why the customer is king. You have to decide who you are going to sell to first before you determine, oh, what do they want? Why would they buy from me over the competition? And then that will help you decide what you should sell. And I didn't mention this last week, but one of the biggest imports of what we're discussing is that maybe let me draw from, this is coming from research, raw research. There's an organization known as CB Insights, and one thing that they are renowned for is they carry out an autopsy of dead businesses. So usually we see businesses that are successful entrepreneurs, we celebrate them. But when you have a business that dies, those people just crawl into their shell and lick their wounds in private. They hardly talk about it. But what this organization does is it goes to interview people that have failed businesses. And then it runs a chart of the top 20 reasons why their businesses failed. At the top 3, you will be shocked because it aligns clearly with what we're talking about. At the top is no market need. And that is that's quite terrifying. Is it possible that somebody started a business that nobody wants what they are selling? Almost anybody that starts a business starts it on the premise of this thing is going to make money, I'm going to sell. By the end of the day, almost 40% of businesses die because nobody is buying what they are selling. So what it means is that many businesses are founded on assumptions, on an assumption that this product will sell, on an assumption that people want this product. And then they go ahead and back that assumption with money, with emotions and risk. And at the end of the day, it fails. The second reason why many businesses fail is that they run out of money. Now, the surprising thing is that the only sustainable way to fund the business is from your customers. If you are getting money from the banks or you're getting money from investors, those are just short-term solutions. The only sustainable way to fund the business is that your customers are giving you money, and at the end of the day, you are making more money than you're spending. That's the only sustainable way to build a business. The third reason why businesses fail is that they are out-competed. You go into the market, you think you will sell, and at the end of the day, somebody steals your lunch. You just find out that you're not selling because your competitors are bigger and they are better and they are more aggressive than you are. And then you just have to leave the game. So these are the top 3 reasons. Out of 20, these 3 reasons alone are responsible for about 70-something% of why businesses fail. So that's why today we're talking about, will it make money? Which is a very important question. And before I address this, will it make money? I need our listeners to understand that there are 2 types of money a business can make. The very first one, which is the most visible one, which is the one that people will often flaunt, is that I have a $1 million business. When they say $1 million business, they mean they are making sales of 1 million every year, right? Now, given my experience in business, I'm not as easily impressed by revenue as most people would be initially, because even when if you look at like the tech world, it is always revenue that they brandish. Yeah. But the most important factor is how much profits are you making? Let's use a very simple example. There's a woman that has a job. She lives in Yaba and then she works on the island. She earns 150,000 naira every month. She has 3 children in the house. And for this reason, she has hired a maid to stay with her. She pays this maid 30,000 naira. Let's just say well-paid maid, so that no story, right? If I offer you these 2 options, would you rather be that woman with 150,000 or will you be the maid? For many people, you just jump at 150,000 is 5 times 30,000. Why would I settle for 30 and 150? But now let me break down the income. This woman spends about 25,000 naira every month to buy fuel to get to work. 25,000 naira every week to fill up her tank. Every week? Yeah, every week, yeah. Because of the price of fuel and all that, to fill up her tank and go and come back. 25K? Yes, yeah. And because of traffic and things like that, that's essentially what she spends. She's always on the road, Monday to Saturday, and then on Sunday they go to church. So by the time you do 25K a week, that's already 100K in the month, right? Then out of the remaining balance of 50,000, she pays the maid 30,000. Now for the maid is a living maid. She eats in the house, she sleeps in the house. Anything she wants, like toiletries and all that, is the madam that takes care of it. Yes. So what clearly we're seeing here is that at the end of the month, this maid pockets a cool 30,000. Untouched, because all her needs are met by her employer. But the employer that is paying her is getting a net of 20,000 naira. It is from that 20,000 naira that this woman can then use to take care of herself and stuff like that. Unsurprisingly, before it is the end of the month, she has taken a loan. She has taken a loan from one of her colleagues, or because things are not meeting up. So even though she earns 5 times what her maid earns, In terms of income, in terms of profit, she's worse off. So I use this analogy when I'm talking to entrepreneurs. Don't tell me you're making 1 million or 100 million in revenues, right? That's a vanity figure. How much are you taking home? And what you will realize is that many business owners in Lagos
are running at a loss.
The businesses are just open just so that it looks like every morning I have somewhere to go to. They pay their rent, they pay their employees. But these people at the end of the day are showing up short. So they have to keep patching, leaking holes everywhere. So at the end of the day, they get to a point they can no longer take it. The business has to crumble, which is not surprising why almost 40% of businesses that die is because they run out of cash. You are spending more money than you make. Even though when I show up in your office, customers are dead, I open your till, there's money, there you are getting alerts. Money is coming into the account. But that's revenue. That money is somebody else's money. Your landlord's money is there. Your employee's money is there. Diesel money is there. You know, there's a lot going on. So, but how much do you keep at the end of the day? So when I say, does the business make money? People initially think, will I make sales? That's an important question. Because if you don't make sales, you cannot keep profits. But another important side of that conversation is the cost. So when I say, will it make money? That your business idea, will it make money? There are essentially 3 questions. What price will you set? What is your cost structure? And what is the volume that you sell? These 3 factors come together to create a very interesting visualization I want to share with our audience.
Yeah.
The difference between your price and your cost is your margin. So there are some businesses that you think off the top of your head, this business is booming, but they are really suffering. Let me use airlines, for example. Airlines are not fantastically profitable. Their margins worldwide, typically between 5 and 10%. If you're a really good airline, you're doing 7%. So they're a very tight margin business. Maybe to bring this closer home, some people might think that selling diesel and petrol is a very profitable business. But when you are driving down the road, if, for example, on this express, look at how many filling stations are closed and how many are open, right? And that is a very tight, small margin business. I had the unfortunate reality of getting involved in that business around between 2011 and 2013. I was in the, as you call it, oil trading business, which is we'll buy a tanker load, 33,000 liters at Apapa port, and then we'll move it to maybe Abuja or the southeast or the south-south. Imagine the kind of risk you are taking, hauling a tanker of 3,000 liters of highly flammable fluid all the way from Lagos to somewhere in the east. By the time it lands, you say, thank God. And then the moment it lands, your customer is now telling that price has changed, doesn't have. By the time we offload that tanker, our profit actually is minus 75,000. That is a loss of 75,000. And you say, no, I'm into the oil business. I mean, you know. But the problem with that business is that the margins are very tight. The difference between your cost and your selling price is very thin. So there are 4 kinds of business that are defined by the margin and the volume. Margin, again, is difference between how much you are selling, your price, and your cost. And then volume is how many transactions are you doing?
The turnover.
The turnover. When you combine these 2, you get 4 types of businesses. The first kind of business is what I call a graveyard business. It is a business where you have low margin.
You have to go slowly now.
Yes,
if you haven't picked your pen and paper, you should, so that you can put some of these things down.
So if your business is low margin and low volume, it's a graveyard business because you're not making much per transaction and you're not making a lot of transactions. The only way you would have caught up is if your margin is small and you're making a lot of transactions. Then that's a different kind of business. But many businesses fall into I want to sell a product that is booming, that is selling. That's what draws them in. But if you look at any product that is really selling, they are typically low margin. Water, anything, most kinds of food, raw food, provisions, all of them are low margin, very low margin. That's why remind me to talk about it, the difference between the supermarkets that succeed and the ones that fail. Because typically supermarkets are low margin businesses. They hope to make money on the volume. So that's why you see things like fast-moving consumer goods, bread, milk, chocolate drinks, toothpaste. All those things are very small margins. That's what you sell. The problem is that when you start a business newly and you are in the low-margin business, your goal is to grow your volume as quickly as possible. If not, that business will crash because you are in the graveyard zone of the business landscape. You are low margin and you are low volume. That is a terrible place to be as a business for very long. If you do not get out of that place within your first year of business, you will likely not remain in business. And businesses that are able to still thrive that are low margin and low volume, the only reason they take off is that they get money from outside. They get investor money, or there's somebody pumping money into the business. Typically, a low margin business, low volume, is spending more than he makes. And that business is destined to die. That's why it's called a low margin business. That's why it's called a graveyard business. Yeah. The next zone is the mass market, which is low margin, high volume. That's where the airlines make money. Per passenger, they are making a small margin. But because airlines are they try to fill up the plane. They always try to fill up the plane. That's where a flight becomes profitable. They make money on volume. You go to any supermarket, anybody that is selling bread, they don't make money on one loaf of bread. They make money on volume. So if you are in a low margin business, our favorite, pure water, the one we discussed, what kills pure water businesses is that they are low margin by nature. But when you start a new pure water business and you're trying to penetrate the market, your volume is low. And the longer you stay there, the more likely it is that you die. Any pure water business that is succeeding is winning on volume. You will likely see them everywhere. Maybe they dominate the whole Oshodi or the whole Yaba or something like that. They make money on volume. Even the Coca-Cola and the Pepsi, the bottled drinks that we talk about, they are low margin. But where they make their money is they pump volume. Everybody's drinking Coke, everybody's drinking Pepsi. You make money on volume. So it's either you are mass market or you are in the graveyard. That's the problem with low margin businesses. So what this tells me is that if you have several business ideas, what this question is asking you, of all these your business ideas, which ones are low margin and which ones are high margin? Right? So now we've talked about graveyard businesses, we've talked about mass market. Excuse me. The third type of business is high margin, low volume. This is my space. That's where I like. It's a boutique. That's what they call. So high margin, low volume. You don't make a lot of transactions. You don't have a lot of customers. But for every transaction, the margin is high. And if you would ask me to put a number on it, any margin, gross margin that is below 30%, I consider it low. Any margin that is higher than 50, 60, 70%, that's a high margin. And it will surprise you. The kind of companies I will name, although they are the other category, high margin, high volume. But right now I'm talking about high margin, low volume. Boutique businesses. This is where you find luxury businesses. Any luxury product that sells, they don't sell to a lot of people. But for anyone that they sell, very high margin. If you look at a Rolex watch, for example, it's a timepiece that just tells time. But then you buy a Rolex watch, $10,000 or higher than that. What it costs them to make the Rolex watch compared to how much you bought it for, the margin is so much. And they are not interested in selling to everybody. Because the moment they start selling to everybody, they become a mass market business. So that's why they want to remain boutique. Consulting is like that. Training is like that if you choose your customers well. So if you're in this kind of business, you're not afraid of losing customers because you know you need to be sure of getting the right customer that will pay well. So the trade-off now becomes some people start a business, they want to serve everybody. Say everybody is my customer. You serve everybody, they price you down. At the end of the day, you're struggling and you're actually running at a loss. Yeah. So sometimes I'll say shift from mass market. You're not mass market. Or right now you're in the graveyard. Leave this thing that you're doing. Create a VIP offer, a premium offer and move into boutique. Right? Then there is an elite group on the landscape that not many businesses belong to. Very few. Which is a high margin, high volume. That is like the superstar range. And the names I will call, of course, would Facebook, for example, does gross margins above 70%. Apple is like that. Why? They built the brand and the marketing. They build the phones at a certain price by Foxconn in Taiwan. And by the time they sell it at significant amounts over. So Apple is very profitable because they have high margin and almost like a status symbol. The higher end of Samsung too is like that. In Nigeria, an example I will see of high margin, high volume are our banks. The banks are if you look at the financial statements of our banks, they are smiling with, and it makes sense. It's a restricted industry. Not just anybody can go in and become a bank. They take your money and they pay you maybe 5-4% interest. Even when they borrow money from the CBN, they borrow at 15% or so. But how much are they giving out this money at? 25%, 26%, 27%. So I would consider them the superstars of our landscape when it comes to high margin, high volume. So when you see these four categories, even if you have started a business now, I think it should be clear to you why you are struggling, right? Because for you to become a mass market, low margin, high volume, you need to be able to push your product well. Your product has to become more or less like a staple. Imagine even after all these years, upon how much we know brands like Coke and Pepsi, they still invest a lot in distribution. They don't play with distribution. It's even at a point now where they give you the chiller, that big fridge, and they tell you only our products must be in here, no other person. And they try and sponsor your business. They put a signage in front. They give you they give you chair. They don't play with distribution. If you are in mass market, the way you win is distribution, because you need to penetrate every angle of the market. So it's surprising when somebody starts a business that is low margin. They don't have the capital to push distribution. So they languish in the graveyard, and it's only a matter of time before they give up that business, because that business is destined to die. Low margin, low volume. It's either you grow the volume or you get out of low margin and look for something that is high margin. This thing I've told you is the formula for fixing almost every kind of ailing business. But if you have not yet started a business, this thing I've given you is a lifesaver. Because all of a sudden, out of your 10 ideas or 5 ideas, it should be obvious to you now which ones are low margin, which ones are high margin, and which ones are low volume and high volume. So essentially, your price, how much you're selling for, and your cost is what will determine your margin. So if you sell something much higher than how much it costs you, you are in a high margin business. But if you set your price close to how much it costs you, you're in the low margin business. Why would somebody set their cost low enough? There are external factors. So for example, if you sell a product that is widely available on the market, that almost everybody sells, your ability to influence your price will be very, very limited. It is the market. In fact, specifically, it is your competition that will determine the price. I cannot come to buy toothpaste, a known brand of toothpaste in your shop, and you tell me that it is 2,000 naira, when I know that in the next shop, they actually sell it for 1,200. There's not much you can tell me to convince me, because there is a clear benchmark I can compare. This toothpaste versus your own toothpaste. Why is your own 2,000 and the other one is 1,200? So for me, it's a no-brainer. I'll just walk out of your shop and go into the other person's shop. And a lot of customers have to do it before your business will crumble. So that's the problem with selling a product that is widely available and can be easily benchmarked.
Yes.
When you're in the boutique kind of business, you are the one that creates your price, because your product cannot be easily compared to something out there. If, for example, I come in and I say, okay, your organization is having sales problems. Yeah. You want to grow your company. Okay, I'm going to help you develop a sales team, recruit the salespeople, train them, monitor them according to these KPIs, and then these are the sales goals that we are setting.
Yes.
If I give you this and I say, okay, pay me 20 million, what are you going to compare it against? Is there some website you can go to and say, how much is sales for training employees, hiring employees, monitoring them with KPIs? I've just given you an offer you cannot compare with anything out there. So because what I'm selling to you is not standard, it's not something I can dictate my price. And then we can negotiate based on other things, but we'll never mention competition. Except you can find somebody else that does exactly what I do. So that is the problem with when you standardize your product, the market can then benchmark it, because customers are actually much more curious. They're actually wiser than you think that they are. So I'm trying my best not to move into the terrain of building offers. But if you want to get into the boutique kind of business, I'm hoping we get a session to talk about boutique. If you want to talk about graveyard, I think a lot of people may have already been burnt. And if you now think back, the reason you were burnt is that you started a business where the competition was dictating your price, so it limited your margin. And all of you were going to buy from the same place. It's like somebody that called before and said they're into the plantain chip business. Plantain chips, clearly, you can see is low margin.
Yes.
Because almost everybody is selling the same pack of plantain chips. And interestingly, they will put their 100 grams, 200 grams. So if I hold your own 100 grams and I hold the other person's 100 grams and it is unripe plantain, why is your own 300 and this one is 150? There's hardly any convincing explanation. I will just go for the lower one because it's the same product. But if I'm offering something different, if right off from the packaging, from what I'm even calling the product, from the process that it went through, it is very clear. Also, for example, you're telling me that this one was fried in olive oil. I can see that the package size is bigger. So it's not 200 grams or 100 grams. It is much bigger. The packaging is different. Where you're selling it is different. I'm not selling it in traffic. If you tell me that this one is 2.5 and this other one is 200, in fact, already I can start to see why. Yes. If you tell me this one is healthier, this one is more organic, this one is sourced responsibly, there are a lot of things you can tell me. I'll be like, okay. Even though it's the same plantain chips, I can see why I'll pay 2.5 for this and 200 naira for this. So this is a very important question. Before you start any business, will it make money? How do you know if it will make money? What's the margin? The margin is the difference between your selling price and your cost and the volume. So what is the combination of this business idea? Is it high margin, low volume? Is it low margin, low volume, or any of the combinations I talked about?
Okay, great. Now, we need to go for a short break. We'll go pay some bills. When we return, we'll continue. The phone lines will be open shortly for you to ask your questions. So keep it here. This is the Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. It's Business Around Town. That's the program you're listening to right now.
Are you looking for the perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, Lagos, number 42, Muritala Muhammad International Airport Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in a beautifully appointed rooms featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your everyday need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop-off from the Lagos airport.
Take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant.
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, Lagos is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So, why wait? Book your stay today and experience ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort. Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less. The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and cold berry ice cream, delight in every scoop. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and cold berry ice cream at 11 Road by First Avenue, Festac Town, 28 at Denira Ogunsanya Street, Surulere, 13 Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Romeo's Pizza and cold berry ice cream. Romeo, the pizza champions.
You're listening to Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Is Business Around Town on the radio, and today we are discussing how to activate your business idea, part 2. The focus today is what will it make money? That's the focus today. If you've been following the part 1, we talked about if there is a market for that your business, who will buy? That's what we focus on. Today we are looking at, will it make money? I have my guest here is John Paul Iwuoha. The phone lines will be open right away for you to ask your questions and call in. It's a free business consultation. You can see how raw the conversation is. This is not motivational or inspirational speaking. You can do it. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Burn all the bridges. No, this is, we're breaking it down for you. If you want to go into business, you have an idea. It has to go through all of this test. Who will buy the product? Who is your customer? You have to know that. Then the next question is, will it make money? And that has been broken down for you. You said there are businesses that have high margin, low volume, high margin, high volume, graveyard businesses, and mass market. You explained all of that. I hope you're taking note. Now, the next question I have is, you said I should ask you this question. It says supermarket business, that the ones that succeed and the ones that don't succeed, because supermarket business are low margin and high volume.
High volume.
Yes.
For the established supermarket that is already getting volume, but there are supermarkets that are low margin, low volume. Either because they just opened, or they're in a poor location, or for some reason people are not coming to buy from them.
I see them and I really feel sorry for them.
In fact, you will start to see when they're on their way down. The shelves will start emptying.
Yes.
At some point, they will start retaliating on their customers by raising their prices to catch up. But the market doesn't care about you. The market only cares about itself.
Yes.
If you are telling me that the reason you are selling higher is that we don't make enough sales, so we need to meet up. It's not my business. I'll go to the next person and buy. So the two ways a supermarket, which is a classical example of a business that by nature is low margin. Because many of the things they sell, people want them every day, but the profit margin very small. So two ways that supermarkets can break out of it. One is that they place an important emphasis on location. That's why for a supermarket, usually, if you open it and you're not in a solid location, it will even kill you before you start. Then if you get location right, the next thing you can do to improve profit margin is that when you go into a supermarket, there are two types of products that they sell. There are high volume products and there are low volume products. High volume are things that people use every day. Bread, toothpaste, biscuits,
water,
fizzy drinks. Those ones, people buy them every day, but they are low margin. Where many of them make their money from are from the low margin, low volume items like gift items, wines and spirits, toys, things that you may not buy all the time. But when you walk in there, you see this new air freshener or this new perfume, that kind of thing. The interesting thing is that that's where they make a lot of their money from. They make their high margins from those products. Because when you come in there, you see a piece of perfume that you've not seen in a long time, and they tell you it's 25,000. What do you compare against? Where do you go to check whether this price is okay? So most times you buy it. If you need to, somebody is having a birthday, and you need to quickly get them a gift or something. Maybe it's a child. You walk in there and you see this toy car, and they tell you the toy car is 15,000. What do you compare it against? Is there a toy shop that you know? It's not as if you go to a toy shop all the time. So it's from all these low volume items that supermarkets make their high profit from. So if you look at a well-run supermarket, they have a combination of fast-moving consumer goods that people buy on a frequent and daily basis, and they have other items that are not that may be frequent, but you cannot really benchmark. Some of them, for example, sell food, or maybe you might go there and see small shops or something like that. It's an unconventional item in the supermarket, and then it puts them in a position to make a higher margin.
Yeah. Now let's go back to how you broke it down so that we know where to focus on. If you are in a graveyard business, that is a graveyard, you defined it as you have low margin and low volume. That's where you are. It usually happens at the beginning of businesses that usually have low margin.
They usually have low volume. Most low margin businesses are there by design. By industry. Airlines by design are low margin. Fast-moving consumer goods, bread and all, are low margin by design. Except you are baking a different kind of bread, like a specialty bread or exotic. But if you are baking normal bread that people eat, that one is low margin by design, because the competition defines the price, and that puts a ceiling on what you can charge, and that's where the low margin problem starts from.
Okay, so when you are there in that graveyard business, so how do you get out of it? What do you focus on?
Yes, so one option is to cut your losses and leave. Now that you know why you are suffering, now that you know why things are the way they are,
give up.
Not give up, pivot. That's a better language to put, which is that pivot. You move away from that business to something better. That's one option, pivot. The second option is to upgrade, which is that your product right now is low margin, but are there things that you can sell that are high margin but low volume? If I use the airline industry, if you want to go to Abuja, for example, you want to enter economy, that one is typically low margin. What the airlines do is they sell business class and first class. That's where they make their money from. Those seats are high margin. They cost like 2-3 times economy. They have a bigger seat, but all of us will get to Abuja at the same time. The only difference is that people will come down, then we'll just be right behind you. The difference is not much. But they just make that is checking in time. First class customers come, they give you that they create a mountain out of a molehill. Or even all of us are going to the same destination. We'll reach London the same time. We'll reach Abuja. But they just say some people are first class, other people are economy. It's because their high margin is from business class, is from first class. That's one way to put it. In the same plane. Another way the airline industry does is that they rent private jets. You can go to Abuja and pay 60,000 naira for a seat. Or you can hire a private jet and pay 20 times that amount. Or even 100 times. Even more. So, but the difference is that it's still the same aircraft. But what you get is different. So that's one way of upgrading. You can create different tiers and say, if you want the standard version, which is our low margin version, this is what you pay. But if you want more exclusivity, if you want more attention, if you want more privacy, if you want more convenience, you want more class, we have a higher level. So one way of creating more profits is to create a higher level for people that want to pay more for higher value. Yeah. And then the third option is to see how you can grow your volume. Because the only way to survive on low margin is to grow volume, expand the volume so that you can come out of graveyard and enter mass market. So these are the three options you have. You can pivot, leave that business and try another business that is preferably higher margin. You can upgrade. You can create options where people that are willing to pay more can pay you more for higher margin items, or you can increase your volume and move into mass market.
Okay, good. We'll have questions here. This one is from YouTube. It says from Hannah. Says, without security and electricity, how can business move forward? I think that's the question. We've dealt with something like this before.
So, interestingly, this the question is a bit forward because for next week, that's what we're going to be talking about. Can you deliver? So, for somebody telling me that without security and electricity, can business move forward? It depends. You can ask two different people. One person will say, because there's no electricity and there's no security, what it means is that the competition will be lower. So, I must enter this business. There's not much competition. If I can find a way to create power and electricity and security, I would monopolize the market. So for some people, what she had just said now, which is supposed to be an excuse, is actually a magnet for some kinds of people. And for others, they'll be like, this business idea requires a lot of electricity and security. And if I cannot get it and I don't have much capital, let me not touch this business idea. Let me move over to another business idea. You see the way one thing that is a risk for one person is actually a reward for another. And for next week, Thursday, we're going to talk about, can you deliver? There are some business ideas where the commercial attractiveness is high. The profitability is high. But you are not the person for that business. You can't pull it off. You can't make it happen. Everybody say, I want to be Elon Musk. No, it's not possible. You don't have the access. You don't have the resources. You don't have the relationship. You don't even have the risk appetite. So you are not the person for that business. In fact, next is going to be really exciting because so far we're talking about external factors. Who will be your customer? How much will the market pay you? How much money can you make? Next week is about the inner game. Some business ideas are clearly beyond you. You should not even touch it. Maybe you can't touch it now, but in 10 years' time, maybe you should try again. Because there are things, there are resources you don't have. And by resource, people think it's money. Some are like, I don't have money. Next week, I'm going to blow that myth. Why money is just an excuse. There are people who start business, they don't have money. They go and get people that have money.
They have the connection.
Exactly. A connection is the same as capital. If I have access to somebody that has money, it's the same as me having money in the boot of my car. So for some people, it's relationships that they use to build their businesses. They don't need to have money. It's access. You see, some people is putting the right resources together. You know that in this Nigeria now, there are people that have money that are concerned about how the naira is losing value. The stock market, what are the options there? Even fixed deposit in banks, There are people that are looking for ways to preserve their wealth. Every day in front of their eyes, their money is losing value. And they're looking for a way to preserve it. Are you telling me that if you give me an option to grow that wealth by being a partner or co-founder with you in a business, and you pitch it to me and it has potential, you think I will not gladly put that money into that business? So you're a solution provider. That's what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is not the one that will come and say, there's no capital. Oh, there's no resource. You're just making excuses. Anybody can come up with excuses. An entrepreneur is a solution provider. If you cannot provide solutions, leave the stage. Go and get a job. That's exactly what it is. So it might be brutal, but that's what it is. There are some businesses you have no business starting because you don't have the resources and you don't know how to find the people that have the resources. And you don't even have the risk appetite. You like it when somebody else is carrying it, but it's okay. If they carry what Dangote is going to put on your head, you will slump.
I don't blame them. It's motivational speakers have told people that you can be anything. You can be anything. You can do anything.
That's why we
you
want
have it inside of you.
We want to be as practical as possible. I'm not saying that you will not do it, but you can't do it now. And I'll show you why. The evidence is clear. It's the 3 R's: resources, relationship, and risk. And on Thursday next week, 9:30, we're going to talk about it.
Okay. And now for this one, questions are coming in. You can call or you can send in more questions. 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. So you could call in and ask questions concerning your business. It might not be what we're talking about now, or you can also ask concerning what we are talking about. So this is free consultation for you. Keep calling in or sending your message. Okay, this one says, good morning to you. My name is Abraham from Isolo. I usually enjoy following this program a lot. Every Thursday, I do not miss it. Now, I have a dry cleaning business, and from what you are saying now, I can say that my business is low margin. It's low margin because I usually think it was high margin, but you broke down at the beginning of this discussion how much you spend. I thought I was making money, but after breaking down right now, I found out that I'm not making profit at all. What I'm making is about 30%, which you've considered as a low margin.
Yes.
And I don't have a lot of customers. I think I'm in the graveyard.
First off, congratulations, because the first solution to a problem is to know the kind of problem that you have.
Yeah.
So this is somebody that has finally realized that this is the reason I'm struggling. I enter this business, everybody's washing clothes, dry cleaning, but this is why I'm struggling. But the good thing is that now that we know what the problem is, we know a way out of it. And all we do is apply the 3 formulas that I gave you. Interestingly, this is the type of business we've discussed before under the business of idea, how to find business opportunities in a tough economy, infrastructure businesses, right? So one option is that you have to find volume. Right now, you're trying to find volume by yourself as a business. You're trying to sell your brand. What if you become an infrastructure for other people that want to market as a dry cleaning business?
What about if you don't have the money to have that infrastructure?
That one you don't. So right now, you say it's in a dry cleaning business. I want to assume you already has the infrastructure. You already has washing machines.
Maybe it's just a small place. It's more.
Yeah. So what he does is that start your dry cleaning business in 24 hours. That's his pitch now. Start your dry cleaning business in 24 hours. Unlike before. Before you used to sell, bring your clothes to me, let me wash. Change your pitch. Start your dry cleaning business in 24 hours. Let people that are thinking of starting a business go out there. Maybe they're already working in places where they can get access to people that have laundry to wash. But you become the back office. They come to you to do the dry cleaning. You give it to them and then they supply. So you are supporting marketers. So you are now a dry cleaner for dry cleaners, which gives you access to a deeper market than when you're marketing yourself as a dry cleaner yourself. That's just one way. The second option is a premium segment. I want to believe he's not offering the same service to everybody. Is there a premium service like get your clothes in 6 hours or 24 hours, home delivery, bespoke washing, like bring your duvet, curtains, or those items that are not typically part of the menu. We wash rugs or whatever. Create offers where you can charge a higher premium. If I want to wash my rug now, I don't know where to ask to compare that price. So I will likely take your price. Because the rug is not something that commonly people wash all the time. In fact, many people don't even use rugs anymore. To wash a duvet, wash towels or something like that. Create an offer that gives you the opportunity to charge higher, make a higher margin. Even though your volume will be low, you will be more profitable. So it's a combination of these factors that he can bring in. But I salute him. Now he knows what the problem is. He's in the graveyard zone. He needs to either move into mass market, which will be harder, but with the infrastructure model, he can enter mass market, or he needs to upgrade to boutique.
Okay. Thank you. Now, we have another question here. It says, good morning to you. My name is Ijeoma. I'm a fashion designer. I make very good gowns, quality clothes for people's occasion. After listening to you right now, I want my product to be high-end. I want it to be high margin and also high margin and high, what do you write here? But I guess we wanted to say high margin and high volume. Mm-hmm. Okay, or maybe high margin or low volume. So I want to know what it will take to make my clothes like those you're talking about, the Apple brand, to make people want my product and be ready to pay high for it. What should I promote? How do I go about this? I don't want to be for everybody. but I want to make profit. For example, there's a lady that I follow on Instagram. She makes fine gowns for people, and she charges people in millions. That same clothes, I can make it, and I cannot. They don't born me well to tell people to pay 1.2 or even 1 million. They usually pay, the highest I've been able to collect is 200, 150, 200, and I can make clothes too. So what is the secret, sir?
First place I'll start. Who will buy? The lady that is selling for 1.2 million, the only difference, and she has confirmed it, she can sew the same clothes. The only difference is that she's selling to a different kind of customer. A different kind of customer that is happy to pay 1.2 and is so grateful that this woman has the time and attention to actually make one for her. It might even shock you that the 1.2 million person was made to wait several weeks, because this person has created an impression of scarcity. I'm very busy. I only make clothes for very few people. In fact, right now I'm fully booked. Can you wait another 1-2 months and then I'll attend to you? And the person will be standing on the line with 1.2 million. Wait for 2 months. You will come and say, madam, why are you standing on this line? I can make this thing for you. Collect it tomorrow. The woman will tell you no. Perception of value is in the eyes of the customer. So the first mistake is who you are selling to. There's a reason why the woman is selling on Instagram. The kinds of people that she wants to sell to are the kinds of people who will likely see something like that on Instagram and then buy. But if you're the kind of person who, I went to one this thing the other day, one burial or one, they gave me one material. Please, I want you to sew boba, and you sew. If you are collecting material from people, nobody is going to pay you 1.2 million, because all of a sudden they are comparing you to the tailor under Obalende Bridge that collects material from people to sew. So what you actually sell needs to change. I don't know how much time we have. Let me give a small lecture on offers,
okay,
so that people will understand this.
Yeah.
Imagine I'm into the car business. I sell cars.
Yeah.
And if I define my business that way, a lot of people sell cars. In fact, there are people that sell cars as a side hustle. They have a job, but they import cars and sell. You ask me, you want to buy a Toyota Corolla 2007, just for sake of this discussion, I tell you it's 5 million. The moment I mention 5 million, you will go on some sites and you start making calls. How much is your Toyota Corolla 2007? Somebody will tell you 4.5, somebody will tell you 2.5, somebody will tell you 7 million. I've now given you a standard to compare. What you want to buy from me is a Toyota Corolla 2007. And I'm not the manufacturer, so you can buy it from anywhere. Imagine you come to me too for that same car and you say, okay, you want to buy a car. You're an office worker, you work in a bank, you want to buy a car. I tell you, okay, this Toyota Corolla, it is 1 million naira down. You don't pay 5 million. Pay me 1 million naira now, and you pay me 500K for the next 1 year, for the next 12 months. The question is, in my mind, I would say 1 million plus 500K for 12 months. That's 7 million. If you add up everything.
Okay, 5 million.
No, 500,000 naira every month for 12 months.
Okay, every month.
That's 6 million.
Okay.
Plus the 1 million I'm saying you should put down now.
Yes.
That's 7 million. That is higher than the 5 million. For the first person that was saying, I will sell this car for 5 million. But guess what? Some people will prefer this other option. Because if I'm a worker, I don't need to pay 5 million now. I only need to pay 1 million, and the rest will be spread. And it works well with my salary. Then there's a third option. You want to buy a car. I tell you, okay, you know what? I'm giving you an offer. You get the Toyota Corolla with a driver, and you pay me 200,000 naira every month. So for as long as you want, the driver shows up, takes you to work, whatever it is you want to do, but you'll be responsible for fuel. You just pay me 200,000 naira every month. With these three options, you are getting the car you want, but the offer is not the same. With the first option, I'm selling you a product. That product is the car for 5 million. With the second option, I'm selling you a payment plan. I'm selling you convenience, actually. You don't need to spit out 5 million. You pay 1 million, even though it will cost you more in the long term. Yeah. This is something people already do. The third option is I'm not even selling you a product. I'm not selling you the car. I'm selling you a service. So these are three people that import cars, but they are selling three totally different things. And because of what they are selling, they can influence their price. Imagine the third option. I give you driver with car. I'm not selling the car to you. Pay me 200K a month. How do you know it's expensive? Expensive compared to what? You can't compare me to anybody. I'm not Uber or any of all this stuff. We're not the same thing. Yeah. I'm your dedicated driver with your dedicated car. People in the office will actually think you have the car and you have a driver, but you're just paying me for the use. It's a service. Some people will love that. In fact, some people will say, can I be changing the car every 6 months? Everyone say, of course you can. You can upgrade. We even have Jeep for you. Jeep, you pay 450 with your driver. Do you want the driver in uniform? That will attract another 25K. People will pay. But it's the same.
For that appearance.
I'm telling you, the people in the office believe it's my car. I drive a Jeep, but I didn't spend 25 million. It didn't even cost me. I only spend 400K every month. So you see how what you sell can change just by changing the offer. So, but in a later session, I will look at offers specifically. So when people say what they sell, fashion is not a product. Fashion is an industry. But what you sell is based on your offer. You can play with the products, you can play with the price, you can pay with payment plans, you can play with risk reversal, you can play with add-ons, a lot of things you can. You can cook your own food when it comes to your product. But people just hang on to the only two ingredients: product and price. Product and price. When you hang to product and price, you make yourself easily comparable with anybody out there. And if I can compare you, I will beat down your price. If I can compare, say, the other person is selling for 4.5. Why are you selling 5 million? But if I cannot compare you, I'll just start telling you, please, my budget is not enough. Can we work around it? So it's the offer that determines it.
My takeaway today is if I can compare you.
Yeah, if I can compare you,
I'll
put a price.
uncomparable.
Yeah, exactly. Be difficult to compare.
Be difficult to compare. I think our time is up. We're going to anchor here today. Thank you so much, John Paul Iwuoha. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, as we can't answer all of the questions or even take calls now. Because time is up. But what you can do is to go back to this video on YouTube and watch it again, because a lot of things were said and you need to watch it, listen to it to really get all of what was said today. So go to VOP on YouTube, VOP 90.3 FM. You search for Business Around Town. You see our discussion today. And then watch it again, download it and listen to it. The topic is how to activate your business idea. We focus today on, will it make money? Will that your idea make money? Next week, we're going to be looking at what
can I deliver, which is a very important question. Yes. But we almost missed out on this session. Everything we're discussing, the foundation is on how to generate quality business ideas, which starts from that free information pack.
There's a website.
Yes.
Can you give out the website?
At www.activatorhq.com/903FM. www.activatorhq.com/903FM. So what you're going to download is an information pack that covers the 6 major strategies for generating high quality business ideas that will work in a tough economy. So you don't need to start thinking of your own business. We've already done that job for you. So with that material, everything we're discussing will be making sense to you, because now we're building on top of those things. You've used the 6 strategies, you've come up with 10 business ideas. We're now showing you how to screen the ideas, what to look for. After this session, we'll go into, you want to raise capital, how to do that. It's going to be step by step, but we're building this house from the foundation up. Okay, activatorhq.com/903FM.
Yeah, activatorhq.com/903FM. Activator. Okay, thank you very much, John Paul. We'll end here now. Coming up next is Area Matter. Keep it here. This is Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. And next week, Thursday, we'll continue from here. John Paul Iwuoha will be here by the grace of God, and then we'll continue discussion. Keep it here.
Are you looking for the perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, Lagos, number 42, Muritala Muhammad International Airport Road, Lagos.
Relax and